So I guess you would be chair tonight, Pat. Frank is on vacation. I think so. Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Contact with you. Nope, you're good. Sorry. It's bad of me.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pat O'Brien. I'm the Vice Chair of the Capital Improvement Plan Committee. I'll call the meeting to order now at 6 p.m. Present, we have myself, Patrick O'Brien.
Karen Ehrenberg. Beth Varney.
Andrew Morse.
You folks all have a copy of the agenda.
Yes.
Any concerns about moving on with the agenda as presented?
No.
All right, so we will work on finalizing the plan, I guess, at this point. So Jessica has taken the time to input all of the requests from the department heads, as well as updated all of the capital reserve fund balances on the worksheet. I'm not sure how clear this might come in at home, but we do have a copy in front of us that's up to date as well. It kind of gives us the opportunity to be able to manipulate the numbers in real time to try and stabilize that overall tax rate, which you find on page 2 of 11. In the yellow highlighted field, historically, this number, we've always worked our best to try and keep it at $1. This is a impact per year per thousand. So in 2025, it's currently at $1.08. In 2026, it's at $1.07. The 2027, $1.10. So ideally, this number has always tried to be somewhere around $1. We focus on the 5 years with the idea that we try and stabilize the overall tax impact over those 5 years. Certainly with the record inflation that we've been seeing over the past at least 4 years, that ideal dollar per thousand has been slightly out of reach. So at this point, Karen did some quick math, and the average of everything that's presented so far, the average would be $1.12. So I don't know how the committee feels about that so far, but the overall idea would be to try to get the appropriations stabilized beyond 2025. If that makes any sense at all.
So it does. There are some departments in here that are in a negative balance. Yeah, but that's more the years out. It's not really for 2025. It's not the immediate, but there are a couple of areas that may need a lot of attention.
There's a particular area you want to hop to, Jessica. You know the plan better than most.
Okay, so let's just start right off with the fire department. Just they're first on the list. So 28, 29, and 30 are some serious deficits.
Jessica, can you scroll up slightly just so that way we can see what's causing the deficits?
Yeah.
And try to keep it all on one
So
screen.
we have, here's these two big things right here. So you got the ladder truck and engine 3. And then this guy over here is the scuba gear went up dramatically from last year. I think it went up like 100 grand. And you have the radios over here, which the other half will come from potentially the state. Oh, ambulance revolving fund. That's what it was. So yeah, these two, it's
I have a question. Is there a way to split up those large purchases over a multiple year? I'm not sure how that would happen. Does it depend on when you buy it?
Yeah, well, that would, so
You
you
know,
would just put, you'd put more in down here, your deposits would increase. So maybe all of these deposits might have, well, they're gonna have to increase.
Right. But I meant the actual planning of a $1.9 million purchase. Can we set aside $400,000 for 5 years? I don't know how that works. I mean, because clearly we can't afford 2.8 million in 1 year. It doesn't even matter what department it is. I'm trying to think of just another way to plan ahead. And you're right. The allocations in the green are going to have to change if we're going to buy $2.8 million worth of stuff.
Well, the fire truck has been on the CIP plan for a while, that ladder truck. There have been times that money has been put aside to allocate the purchase of that. I believe there's been some changing, changing of the guards and the selectmen and with, department heads. But I think at times the decision to purchase a brand new ladder truck may have changed. Am I correct, Pat, in sort of a generalization of why we haven't purchased one yet? There's,
Especially in my role tonight, I am
Yeah.
really going to defer from this topic. Perhaps over to Selectman Morse.
it kind of has been on there, trying to save some money, and then
Yep.
decisions were, different decisions were made.
Yeah, but doesn't, I mean. The ladder truck it doesn't mean that we're not going to in 2028. It depends on. I mean, we've met with the fire chief and stuff, and he's trying to figure it out and figure out. Things have to go through inspections on this ladder truck, I think this fall sometime. I don't know exactly, so. So yeah, other than that, that's still up in the air. So there's no
Yep.
really definitive answer.
Yeah, because when I talked to him earlier in the week, he had me take it from 1.6 million to 1.9.
That's
So that-
probably correct.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that just increased
it's-
from last year,
yeah.
300,000.
Probably accurate.
So it kind of didn't really answer your.
And is this the same?
It's, I guess
size
maybe
truck
it's
that they
an
were looking at
explanation
before?
as to why it appears like we're trying to raise 1.9 million,
Will not.
per year.
Majority of the properties in this town. Of the driveways down on the lake. It's gonna be too big.
Yeah, I don't know. I believe it's just gonna be the same size as of right now as the one that we have, because that's the only fits in the fire station. Until we get
Because the other one that they were looking at was large.
or could have been, I'm not exactly sure what they were looking at before.
And in my opinion, I feel like this really needs to get addressed sooner than later. I've seen the ladder truck listed on the CIP plan at $999,000. Now it's 1.9.
Yeah.
It's like $1 million more than it was 5 years ago.
But yeah, I mean, I've only been on the board
Yeah,
for 3.
I know, I'm just
And
throwing.
and it's a board
Times and
decision, so
numbers,
it's-
yeah, it's just,
no, I
it's throwing numbers
I
out there.
understand that.
Yeah, it's just, right, but then it's like, what do you do? What do you do about it?
Well, I think this particular expense is going to make us kind of hold us up for the entire night. Because it's what is going to throw the largest wrench in that bottom line.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was potentially looking at, and again, we can't play too much with the appropriation figures because they are what they are. But can we look at potentially moving out FD 16, although, I mean, I'm sorry, not FD 16, FD
The
15,
15 engine 3,
but that pushes
yeah,
that out to 34 years. I don't know if that's necessarily responsible or if
right. Oh, I
the
see.
the chief will be.
Well, there's nothing in the year before. Is there something we can move, can we move that ahead?
So the actual expense isn't necessary, well, no, because it will impact the green figures at the bottom, what we need to put in
Yeah.
pretty significantly. The only thing that would help is pushing it out.
Yeah.
Jessica, would you mind moving that out to 2030 and just seeing what it makes everything look like?
So the ladder truck, you mean?
Not that.
So that's a wild card with that one, because
What did you want me to move over?
the 900,
Oh, I'm sorry.
just because this is more of a this is more of a second due vehicle than a primary out the door vehicle. So I'm curious if perhaps the chief would be open to the idea of
In the,
uh,
So it says.
in the breathing the breathing apparatus, that is definitely, you gotta replace that year, correct? 'Cause that's on a certain lifespan. Okay.
so.
So what happened was that 900, so the engine 3 is a new addition to the plan from last year. That was not on here.
So
That
what's
wasn't
the
on here.
number?
And then engine 2 was supposed to be purchased in 24 and now it's moved out to 25. So that's why, one of the reasons why those numbers are so off this year on this plan, because of the addition of that 900,000. The 355, that was at 255. And that 884 was supposed to be already spent last year. So those are the, those are the big changes as to why.
So just knowing what I know, I would go out on a limb and make this suggestion. Because it doesn't necessarily completely cut everything, but it does make things somewhat easier in the next coming years. The other thing that we could potentially do is Karen didn't have a terrible idea when she had mentioned trying to source funding elsewhere. And is it one of those deals where we approach the select board and say, we've been chasing this for so long, can we have some type of arrangement where maybe we could utilize unassigned fund balance or go back to the idea of a lease purchase like Frank had suggested? That would be the only other thing, is to try and cut that number in half. So that way we're not trying to chase it. None of those answers we will be able to get tonight, though.
Right. Right, we just, do our best to prepare the plan to the best of our ability.
Because even if it was ordered in 2028, we wouldn't have to put down all 1.9 on it, correct? So even if we separated half for 2008, half for 2029, would that work or not? I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Yeah, I think it would depend on the arrangement, yeah.
But usually you don't pay the whole thing upfront anyway.
Typically not unless it's bonded and there's like significant prepayment discount. This has always been a concern with, will you get your money or your vehicle?
Yeah.
So at the very least, if it's bonded,
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's another option. Divide it between 2028 and 29.
Well, is there a lot, is it long lead too? I mean, I have no idea how long it takes to place an order and
I
then
think it's
actually
about
get
3
it.
years or something, isn't it? They're close to that, or is
mean,
it longer?
I don't think you'd pay for the whole thing all at once until you got delivery.
That's what I mean.
But you
yeah.
might pay a significant portion.
Yeah, that's why
but
if we
maybe
divide it
the-
half and half,
The last 20%
I
or
don't know-
the
I don't know
last
if that would work.
25% you'd pay on delivery because you would never pay for the whole thing. I mean, that would be
unless you get a
insanity.
wicked discount, which sometimes it.
Mm,
Still,
But
that's a lot
even
of money.
then,
That's a lot of money to stick out there to make.
yeah, even
no.
then, because what if it doesn't work? I mean, you know what I mean? You want it to function and be inspected and all that kind of stuff so that it meets criteria. And that the
That's all.
vendor comes back and fixes it before you pay him the last installment, even if it's only 10% or 20%. I mean, I don't know how it is in the ladder truck world. I have no idea.
well, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe engine 2 was a 0 down payment. It was just a signed contract. So-
Benefit for paying, for no discount for paying anything up front. You don't know, or even if
I
you
don't
do,
know.
you're not gonna say. So
So I don't know if that's a bad option of dividing that per, dividing up in 2 years. I don't know. That's a thought.
Do you want to see what that looks like, Jessica, maybe?
Yeah, so what are we at, 995 and 995 and 28 and 29?
Yeah.
did that help them?
Yeah, because I mean, even changing this number, it'll change the balances in the bottom, but it won't actually change the impact, if that makes sense.
Right. Wait, how
But at least it won't make it, we won't be in the negative. I don't believe.
Wait, you put negative though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because,
Yep, I see it now, sorry.
all right,
How's the green get determined?
That's essentially the numbers that we try and figure out tonight.
So we're still minus
So
on the
then
next
that-
year.
Because
that
those
would
are the
make
numbers
that-
that actually add up to
Fine.
the tax
would just
impact.
be these 2
Okay.
years.
So those are the numbers that we truly need to manipulate tonight. But the first thing that we need to identify is the bottom line of the
Right.
funds.
Mhm.
Is it sustainable? And then can we shift money around to stabilize?
So those yellows are still negative, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, we fixed one.
Right, yeah, just. We're still at 185.
So what? if it's like 527.
It's,
And I'm just picking a number out of the air. Right?
I don't know.
Can you do that? Can you give them money even though they have nothing on the docket to buy?
And just keep in mind, whenever we alter these numbers, but by those significant portions, the tax impact goes up pretty significantly. Do you want to just do it as an exercise, Jessica? Yeah. Change that to.
So anytime you change the green,
yep,
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're $1.23.
Yeah,
Start.
yeah,
Yeah, start.
yeah, so
Mhm.
that's.
Yep.
That's what we do, back and forth.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
how to split the screen? You could split the screen too, if you, if that,
That's.
then you can
That's
see
highway.
every time you make a change, what happens to the bottom. Okay. We could put that back to 200. That's helpful, just to see how it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still $1 million short for them. Right? So that's that how I read it? Minus 185 and 685.
Yeah, yep.
900K short.
Is there,
Could we bump, I know it probably won't help much, but bump the manned vehicle back a year? But it's still looking a negative, that's more of a negative.
The 900, the engine free, you move it out to 30.
Yeah, we really, but we can't span that too.
Yeah, like, right, cause that's already 10 years, no, that was the other one. Yeah,
It doesn't go away, but it kicks the can down the road. So if you make that 0.
so then we would just need to fix 2029. That's still,
180.
that still kicks $1 million down the road. That's a lot to keep kicking out.
You can put it back in, just so we don't forget it.
so just for rough numbers, because I do feel like this kind of needs to get to the select board for a decision. It looks like we're 8, 6, 7, 800 and
Jessica, do me a favor,
10.
and just highlight the 2 yellow numbers.
oh, there we go. Yeah.
Just highlight the 2 yellow
That'd be
numbers.
great,
And then
thank
look
you.
at the total at the bottom. Highlight it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick it, and then just go over. Okay, stop.
871.
871.
Thank you. So 800,
75K.
yeah. So let's call it, yeah, 872,000. What really needs to make it to the select board level is we either need to pursue alternative funding sources or we need to somehow bury or add $872,000 to this plan over the next 5 years.
and we're just on the fire department.
And we're just on the,
We haven't even gone through. the
we
other
would need
department.
to,
Yeah.
The other ones are. Corresponds to 006, 002. I mean. Oh. I don't think we should waste, that's not the right word. I don't think we should spend it.
yeah, I feel pretty comfortable that we could work through that pretty easily.
Yeah, when we might as well go to the highway, try to figure it
Right,
out.
so we're gonna leave this for now, right? Going along.
Their number.
So
Yeah,
the
it's more.
biggest thing. The equipment pretty much stayed the same, except for. I took out the roadside mower, that was like way down here.
Yep.
Took that out, what he wanted to do was.
That was a combo thing.
Yeah,
Wasn't it a combo piece of equipment that would do both?
yeah.
Yeah,
that-
the wheeled excavator.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he was gonna get the backhoe and trade in the excavator.
Right.
And so the money from the mower is gonna go towards the purchase of this wheeled excavator
Why do you want that?
in 27. So that changed. That's all that changed with the equipment section. That was that. The other highway stuff, so the road reconstruction, what I did was, what passed last year was 1,450,000. So then I just did what we had been doing. And just increased it that 50,000 every year. That goes way above our schedule that we had set last year. But it made no sense going back and decreasing the amount and keeping our schedule that we had.
So what do they envision being the ceiling? Because I don't remember this conversation when Scott Hinman came in and discussed it. I vaguely recalled it being 1.5. And we were trying to get from 1 million to 1.5.
Yeah, and then
Beca-
last year, they approved it was 1,450,000 was the warrant article.
So my question is now that we're at 1.5,
Yeah.
are we good? Do you,
Yeah.
are you able to speak to that at all,
Um,
Andrew?
no, because I haven't talked to, but I mean, that should be a decent number for a few years.
So Jessica, I vaguely recall them mentioning that they wanted to get to 1.5, and I don't have my notes from that year, but I'll.
Yeah, because I think that we did discuss that with Scott.
Yeah, all right, let me look at what was last. Yeah, so on last year's plan, 2029 was 1.5.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and again, I'm going based on memory because
Yeah.
we don't have an updated sheet. But I want to say that that goal number was 1.5. And again, we can
I-
confirm
I-
that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that.
I think that
So-
was the
Let,
positive.
I would say let's change it and we'll double check with Seth. And we can maybe, I can check my notes from last year when Scott made the proposal.
Sure.
Yeah, so for all the years upcoming though, because remember we were
It
looking
should
at
stay flat, not go
1.5,
up.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I-
what it was, it was always, I think it was 950,000 for road reconstruction.
Yeah.
That there was a justification and a plan brought forward to increase maintenance, and with that needing to increase the appropriation to the fund, because not only were they trying to build roads, they were trying to maintain roads. So last year we had kind of put forward a plan to increase 50,000 per year
Right.
moving forward. But the decision had been made at one point to just increase it to the 1.5. And I think that was just due to some backlog and also the storms
Sure,
and everything
sure,
else. So
sure.
I think, and again, feel free, anybody pipe in, but I feel pretty comfortable with that. And maybe we can check in with Seth and just make sure that that 1.5 number.
So now. Can you just go to the page that shows what the impact is to just grounds and maintenance or highway, whatever it's called?
Yeah,
I just want to write down what the difference, the changes. The first year is 80, the second year, 26 is now 81.5. Well, that's the same. 90. How come it didn't change? Should it change?
right here, the tax rate that you're talking about?
Yeah, like, shouldn't it change based on the number that you just changed up top?
Yes.
Yeah, so what do we have for the yellow numbers on the bottom? I can cross-reference it with this.
Oh.
Sorry, the total tax impact overall.
Right, so that should have been a. Yeah,
Wait,
Yeah, those numbers are the same.
the numbers are the same, so if something's not working in the spreadsheet based on the 1,500 you just changed out of it. Right there. which formula down below uses that 1,500 or whatever line that is?
265, that's H265.
Oh, wait a minute, did you change the green? Is the green number to the deposit number?
Yeah.
Was the green, did you do the?
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh,
Good call. Thank you, Andrew.
because- right, It's not,
No.
yeah, I had to
She
change
changed
both.
The with.
I was reading down, I was reading the green, it says deposit one, was like, oh, wait a minute,
I knew there's a reason why we invited you.
Yeah. that's not my good looks, huh?
Oh, gosh. That would have been a long night.
Wait,
She already changed.
Yeah,
it.
this was, I already changed it.
No,
No.
those, yeah.
Cause they're not taking out anymore.
Yeah,
They're
it's
taking-
even in out. Yeah,
This particular.
okay, this is gonna make sense
There
now.
we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hopefully this looks a little better.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, much better.
Andrew for the win. All
okay,
Yes.
right, that's looking better.
Oh.
Ooh. All right,
wow.
put that back
Much
up.
better. Wow, $1.08, $1.05,
Yeah, dollar, I mean.
$1.05, $1.14. So we.
So
Yep,
huge.
yeah, and then this one is like $1.24.
All right, so while we have that in mind, so 2029, we need to see if we can shift some 2029 to 2030. Can you go back up?
That's,
Yes.
that's,
Highway,
but that's the big fire department.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check the highway, the vehicles
highway.
real quick. What's their bottom line in 29?
Okay, so they got 330. Yeah,
Right.
they only have
Keep going.
330.
Yeah, 61, that's not enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Do we want to move something in toward 28? Is that what you're saying?
No, so say, and again, just Jessica, just for an experiment, can you change the 175 to 150
for here.
appropriation? Yep.
Yeah.
And then move that 25,000 to 30. Again, I don't feel comfortable with that number, but, and then move 30 to 150. I'm sorry, just add 25,000 to
Where are
2030 in that line.
Oh,
Make
to
that
150.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
So total amount of money doesn't go away, it just,
Shifts.
yep. So, and then if we go back down, again, 25,000, that probably only changed it like 5 cents maybe.
Oh, it changed it a penny, right? Was that
Penny.
that was at 14? Yeah,
And what's 30? Is it one?
it's $1,
Dollar one?
one, really, it would round up to $1 too.
No, yeah.
So
That's not horrible all the way through there.
I mean, the way that looks, it doesn't count at all.
let's do some quick math and see.
Yeah.
I think we're still short.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you could average it. It's probably gonna come out to $1.06,
Yeah.
$1.07.
Maybe a little.
Hmm.
85, 5, 5, 13, and 2.
So the difference between $1.05 and $1.30, give or take, we're talking like maybe $40 on probably the average assessed. So I don't know what we wanna. What we wanna look at as a baseline. Are there any other major deficits besides the fire department, Jessica?
Go away. Let's just fix that, because that's
So there's
just staying the same.
Community center.
Uh,
The,
That's a negative 78,000.
I think we should start we should probably start dealing with these smaller numbers
And that's.
and
what-
then get into the big ones.
Okay. Yeah, grounds and maintenance needs a lot of help,
Okay,
and that was it.
okay.
That's the ground maintenance such in the negative.
Grounds and maintenance, why is that different
100,000.
from, so bad?
It's the 100,000.
That's the big, community center property.
What is,
So.
what are they
let's
doing to
see.
that?
Why is that so drastically different?
Senior center.
Oh, okay.
Is that a Parks and Recreation or is this a highway?
It's probably under highway.
I
Like
don't-
probably under the last page of highway, it's a separate ground the maintenance sheet. It's like the PWGN,
Oh, do you have a copy of it?
yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sure, thank you.
Yeah, the ground and maintenance.
GM. This says GM3.
But they're spending. 50K.
We're at GM6 though.
Right, so GM3's up here, that's the Dodge Caravan.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So that
50.
grounds and maintenance vehicle equipment is reasonably healthy then. With a $9,000 minimum balance. So
Yeah.
if God forbid there's some kind of catastrophic failure of something, they can hopefully manage. Yeah, I don't have a sheet for the Alton Bay Community Center. I do recall there being some concerns about a roof and a furnace and the building being generally outdated, but I not to the point where I can comfortably speak to.
Right, I didn't receive a specific sheet for that one. But that has been on for a little while to save up that 100,000. Why is that in such a negative this year?
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint it.
And we got Pearson Road. Community Center the year after that, 26, that's gonna put that in a deficit. But that's only another 20,000.
Right, we have enough, so no, we don't.
So what would happen if we added another 24,000 to that next year? And another 20,000 to that the following year for Pearson Road? I wonder what that's gonna, is that gonna,
So there was an error in last year's CIP plan. It's like a $25,000 difference, so that makes sense. There's an error in
we-
the
we-
calculation,
but we were off 25,000.
yeah, last year, so
So we-
that's actually correct.
So we're gonna be in the negative, that's correct.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What would be happen if we put another 20, 4,000 to that count this year to make that in the good. Would that mess our numbers up on the bottom too much?
Let's see, so what do we put in,
Just so.
55,000?
Sure.
Now, what's that do to the bottom? What's it back?
$1.09,
I think it was
09.
1.3.
Yeah, it was a dollar.
Okay.
right? Yep.
so that.
So I mean, is that worth a penny or a percent or whatever?
It's either that or we ask her to push it, but I don't know the implications
Either do
along
it, yeah. It's because she has to do the whole roof. and it's-
contracted. And is the price gonna change? I guess we have to
can
figure out,
decrease- So we can decrease this or just put zero.
I don't know that I would go zero,
Yeah,
but maybe
decrease,
1,000 or two.
Yeah,
Right,
see what 2,000 looks like, because you still want to put some money in there, because it's
Yeah.
gonna need,
Other things.
but then we gotta add 20,000 to the next one down that year. To make that,
They have some big numbers after that, though, that potentially we could reduce, maybe.
so then go down to the senior center one. That's the next negative, so if we put 40 there instead of 20.
Well, we got the year before that we could alter to, Andrew.
yeah,
Oh, do we? Oh,
So maybe
Make it
bump that to
zero.
20.
Oh.
and then bump that to 15 more, so 35. And
okay, I mean, it brings it down real low, but
yeah,
Right.
let's see
they're
what-
gonna be doing all the repairs that year anyways.
And
and
then,
then see what that does to our bottom line.
Do you wanna keep these at 10?
Which one are we high on? The last one, 30?
Yeah, we're at 40,000 come.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
2030.
on the bottom dollar, are we
Oh, you wanna see what that
14
looks
cents or
like?
something? If we lower that to 5, that might help us that year. I don't know.
All right, you wanna see where we're at here?
Oh, no, we're $1 there, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No. 12, so we're really not too bad, I don't think.
I think we could.
How much money do they need in this? Do they need 40? Out in 2030?
It all depends on if a furnace goes down or,
Sure.
you know.
yeah, I'm more hesitant about this one being the Pearson Road Center. It's used daily, so
Right.
Right,
I
yeah,
feel like a
Yeah.
reasonable reserve is,
okay, then I'll get rid of this highlight. This mouse is terrible, it's like sticking to the table.
yeah, I apologize. It's not great.
Okay. So that looks a little better.
All right, is there anything else down below that? I believe there was, right?
Um. Oh,
Yep.
so this right here, this is the body worn camera program
Right.
that, so if you see my notes. That the potential of the remaining funds, so this 78,000. I did talk to the chief about it and he was gonna try to see if come then. He could start squeezing some of that, into his regular operating budget.
So
It's-
was he comfortable with that deficit? Or should we?
So he's new on the, he's new on this plan, so I don't know if we really talked about like what. What do you want in your reserve fund?
Yeah,
It's not a
Because this one
deficit.
is just, it's just
Is
specific.
that true?
yeah, I know he was talking about the revolving fund being able to potentially support some of it as well. And then, because this is essentially an operating expense moving forward, assuming the program is a success. I do recall him saying something about moving some of that into the operating budget.
Yeah, because originally he asked for the whole 45,000 a year.
Right.
But then he said he could, could negotiate the 25. And then try to see what he can do come next. Is that is that like a solid, is that, I don't know, he's new, so, he's new on the whole program.
Right.
I mean, we are down to $1 on that year. We could
Yeah.
bump that up a little bit,
Was it $1 for that particular
Yeah.
year?
so.
75,000.
So maybe we
Maybe.
could bump
30 starting in
Yeah.
26. Yeah,
this from here.
30. Yeah, just because 25 is already getting tight.
Yeah.
And then maybe 30 or 40 and 40 maybe. Or 30, no, 35 and 35. Yeah, 35 and 35.
Oh, why not? Well, a little better. It's less of a impact to the operating budget.
Even if we bump that 30, the last year there, 30 up to 50, because we're still at a $1 at the bottom
All
number.
right, so
We
let's
could act,
see.
we could. And then that.
Right,
At least it leaves it down. If he uses some out of his operating budget, he's right there.
yeah, and then that doesn't give him a huge spike in the operating budget.
Yeah.
All right, we're still at $1.
Oh, so everything else is under $1.10.
I
Oh, except for that year.
Yeah,
12,
that's
but-
the,
How about we have all the IT stuff highlighted yellow, at least on my copy it
And
is.
that's
because
half of the
I still have
ladder
questions
truck, and they moved the
Okay.
fire
for
truck.
him, but then I was able to
too, right?
get the
Okay.
answers
Okay.
after I printed it.
That's fine.
It wasn't changing it.
The-
It's done.
Yeah, so that's gonna be, which, still 12, it's not like. I mean, I'm okay with that $1.12 at 29, just because that's the big year for the
Yeah,
fire station. I
it-
mean, it's
we
not,
can,
not huge, at least it's not up in the $1.20
Yeah.
range or
It's-
18.
Yep,
I mean, I think we did very well keeping everything else right around a little over $1.
yeah, it was $1.23 before we touched anything.
Yeah.
Well, we're still negative on fire, right?
so I just took a peek back at my notes and I apologize. He said the total project for 2025, or I'm sorry, 2029. Is 125,000 for 5 years on North Streams. Yeah, so he said 25K annually. What did we
So we're
have?
at, where am I going back to?
PD body worn cameras. Down
No.
maybe,
Oh, no, that's down here.
up 1 or 2,
A bit of yellow.
a little bit more.
Oh, there we go. Phew,
So I had 228 in my notes, then I crossed it out and wrote 125. Body worn camera for 5 years.
So it doesn't need to be 228.
well, there's a reason why you wrote it.
Y-
Like, I'm not second guessing. you,
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why you wrote that,
Yeah,
so clearly he must have stated that.
Isn't the body
Was he
camera
gonna get
something that they
funded?
can also get a matching grant for?
I think so. I think
I
they,
think yeah, but he just wasn't sure.
so I think he put in, I think that's one of his grants that he
I
came
think
for.
that's one of the states that they can get.
yeah.
Right, so the initial, so yes, so his initial purchase of that, he's getting a grant. It's the 5 year, it's that 5 year replacement is what we're trying to do right now. Yeah,
Check with PD.
But I mean, I think we're pretty close on that. For right now, I mean, we're still 5 years out.
Yeah,
And
yep. I think it's a small enough amount
Yeah.
that maybe we could massage it over the next.
Mhm.
Not only
year.
that, the state may make, or the feds may make grants available for
Right.
that too, coming up.
Yeah,
for-
like a second
for all of
round.
it again.
Yeah, yep.
And then whatever he takes out of his operating budget, he'll be,
Mhm.
it's not like he's taking a lot,
Right,
so
right.
I'm okay with that number right now.
Yeah, I mean, ordinarily, we don't end up with deficits, but there's, I suppose, certain circumstances, you
Yeah.
know?
So the other thing, while we're on PD, I have in my notes that he wanted to add 65,000 to a building capital reserve. But I don't see a building capital reserve. It's just that building expansion. So
Right.
I'm curious if that's an establishment of a new capital reserve, and then once it's established, then it hits the plan. Because we can't appropriate money to something that doesn't exist, right?
So, yeah, I don't.
Have any documents for it?
Yeah, I don't have any, you didn't provide me with anything, so it didn't get added on.
Probably because of, I mean, it's gonna have to go through the select board
Yeah.
process anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, more yellow. What do we got?
I think just the fire station.
okay,
So our lowest years again.
go back
are-
down.
Yeah, sorry.
Okey dokey. That's where we're at.
1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 2, 1. And then, okay, so we need to see what we can shift from 29 to 30.
Okay,
So fire department, maybe? We gotta start somewhere, I guess, right?
Yep. We could,
I mean, it's a small number. We could probably shift the command vehicle out a year.
Know that that will affect the bottom number, though.
take some of these out.
Uh,
Right, it would have to be a pretty significant amount to. even
Yeah, that's
budget
what I'm
it
saying.
down, Like
Yeah.
100,000 something
yeah, can
plus.
let's take a peek at the fire departments again, just because
All right,
this is the one that's actually gonna make an impact. You start talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, to
Yep.
your point. Okay,
so there's the radios.
so I guess the question would be, can we, and it's not necessarily about moving projects at this point, right? It's more about altering that green number.
Yep.
So does it make sense to try and shed some off of 29, like maybe 100,000, and move it to 27 where it's 200? So it's 300, 325, and then
Wow.
200.
Hmm.
So does it make sense to maybe shift 125 over to 27? So it's 325 and it matches 26?
Yeah, see what that looks like.
Try it.
Okay, so taking off
So that will go down to
300.
Or I mean, realistically, maybe just
Or 350. See what 350 looks like there. Be careful what you wish for.
Okay, so
Let me sell that.
350.
And then
27 should be 325. Maybe.
Yeah, okay. Let's
Okay.
see.
It's just a little bit closer. It bumps that to a 111,
Yeah,
but then takes
But
that
that-
down.
yeah, that brings that down to 109.
But I think we're gonna have to add more anyway, because we're what, 115 shy?
No, a lot more than that.
yeah,
Oh, you're talking like,
800.
Oh, was it?
When you have to look at both years negatives. So if you sum 135,
Yeah.
so it's 35, it's like.
so 2030 is still low.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna look like,
I think we gotta bump 20.
How much did you move up at 425? So you went from 200. The
Two- the
325.
325.
125.
Yep.
So that should have made that.
Oh, 250. Oh, no.
We moved,
300
we
instead
moved
of-
hundred and twenty-five, but we only subtracted 50K from 29. Wasn't it 400?
Or 425, actually, 425.
Okay, so we.
Yeah.
moved-
Let's-
But we're still, what?
Can we
150?
drop that to 300?
To the 200. But you,
Yep. Yeah, and 26.
but the 425 changed to 350.
Mhm.
We gotta up that.
So that was only 1570. Not the 125.
What if we tried putting the 136 on that? Another 136, see what that does to the number.
Well, that year's already like real tough. But again, I mean, we're just playing with numbers at this
Yeah.
point. It's not going on a ballot. so.
Yeah. That is D24. Not gonna do it in 21. We're gonna do it in 30.
So we changed that there, we gotta change that up here. The radios.
Oh, it's in two.
So there's a potential for them to be withdrawn from the ambulance revolving fund and the fire department equipment, but then when I talked to the chief, he said there's also a potential that it will all be funded by the state, potentially. So I put the notes in, but then you also list it. So do you want to move that?
I don't
move
know,
that out?
it's just.
See what that looks like?
It would help, all it does is help 29, I mean, 30 is a disaster.
Let me change it up here. This doesn't affect our numbers, but I don't want to forget to change it. All right.
So 26. I mean, I guess it really depends on what we're looking for that bottom line number to be.
I don't
Again,
think it's gonna get that
we've,
much lower than.
we've always historically tried to get it around $1. I think with the deficits that we know about already,
Yeah.
it's going to be slightly out of reach.
Yeah, I think if we're under $1.10, I think we're looking good.
This year, yeah.
No, I mean, even for
it
the,
just-
even
yeah.
for the other years, I mean, I think $1 is now
Well,
obsolete.
what's inflation?
I agree.
That's what, yeah.
I mean, especially for 30, maybe we should target, instead of $1, maybe it should be $1.20. It's being unrealistic, in other words.
I kind of like the idea of making it as low as we can possibly make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope, I agree, yeah.
But I think, and I'll just go out on a limb here and say, I think the number in the back of my head is $1.10.
Yeah, that is what mine.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm understanding what the deficit is up above. I think if we aim for that $1.10, or $1.09, I think that's the most financially responsible thing that we can do at this point,
Yeah, I agree.
without talking about eliminating projects completely.
That's what we would have to do.
Right. And, you know, we do have some new projects in there. Of course, they're smaller, the police body worn camera thing. We've had a lot of updated numbers in vehicles and equipment for inflation, which we did ask for.
Yeah.
So what,
So-
so just for giggles, the 30 is what we're, what's that? Still, it's $1.01?
Yeah.
Why don't we go put the number that we need for the fire department and see what it looks like? See how high it is.
Yeah, that's my only fear is that when we say we're putting $1 million into a capital reserve fund, people are gonna be like, what are we doing putting $1 million into a capital reserve fund? But I totally understand.
I was just seeing what the numbers look like.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean-
let's do it. Let's see what happens.
I mean, if it looks, all of a sudden it changes it to like $1.20, then, oh, okay,
Sure.
you know, I just don't know what that. Cause what do we?
All right, fire department.
It's good, it's gonna,
See,
yeah, it's gonna be-
It's a big amount.
that is a big amount there.
No,
Yeah.
I was just a thought. It was, it'd be another good one, but.
So
Make a decision. then we're not listening to our constituents that say this is what they need.
So I wonder if we look at, because was it 26? That was the $1.05. Although, yeah, up or down, I think,
20.
all the way, yeah, it's all the way down, my bad. All
You
right,
think maybe stick?
we should just have a top and a bottom button here.
This number right here, 40,000.
Yeah, so I guess what I was looking at is if 26 is $1.05, can we add another 100,000
Yeah.
in 26, in 27 perhaps?
Yeah, which one?
It's
was
not
it?
where we want to be, but
Another 100,000, you said?
do we make that number 400 flat across the board? And does that get us to where we need to be?
Oh, so change all of these?
Yeah, I don't want to start changing too much and then we forget where we came from, but yeah, I mean, it's just a thought.
Well, let's.
No,
okay.
yeah, okay, right. I think that's gonna push us out of our ballpark for 25 though.
We might want to leave 25 alone.
Yeah,
which is kind of
I
what you were
definitely would
saying.
leave 29 alone.
It's
Let's see what that looks like. Because would you change two of them?
I changed three.
Three.
All
Three.
three of them,
Yeah. The first. two.
25, 26, 27?
Yeah.
That might have put us ahead on 25.
Yeah, I think 25 is gonna have to stay where it was.
Yeah.
But the other two,
That jumped them all. up.
That's gotta go to 28. So 27's increase is gonna go to 28.
Yeah, if I can figure out easier way to navigate up and down.
So 25 to 300.
well, would 325 matter if we went to
Let's
three?
go back to where we were.
Oh. Okay,
That's to back to where we
all
were.
right, that'll do it. All right, so 26 to 4. And then 28. 28's the rough one, isn't it? Oh, no, 28 was better, actually.
Yeah, if we,
Yeah,
even if we added
I would-
50 to it.
That was-
Yeah, I would do at least 50 there.
okay, well, that. looked
And
a little
then
better.
add, I mean, for all intents and purposes, let's go to 650 and 30. Again, I really hate to see that number on a
Yeah.
ballot for a capital reserve fund.
Okay, well, see what that looks like.
9, 9, 11, 7. So we need to 12.
It's not horrible, but,
So we get a shift some more out of 27 into
and that all
28.
depends on, so if the fire truck gets ordered in 28, do we need that much money that year for it? You know, like, might add, but that's down the road that we can't do that tonight. But
Sure,
but-
and
We did
but
split it up,
it,
though.
it really depends on the opinion of the Board of Selectmen at the time too, because the most recent decision was they weren't comfortable placing an order unless the money was in the bank.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm outstepping again. All right, sorry, back to the plan. 27 to 28, we need money from 27 to go to 28.
Okay.
Let's look at highway, because we beat up
Yeah.
fire, 27 to 28,
Pick on them for a little bit.
highway equipment.
Okay, highway.
We need money down. Yeah, that's 20 to 28. Yeah.
Yeah, if
that's-
you decrease that, they'll have like nothing.
Mhm.
That's already low at 66.
Fire department it is.
And then you got, it's low over here, like at
Yeah.
2029. So you really can't take from them. Okay,
All right, fire department it is. 27 to 28.
let's see.
They haven't. Nothing.
But we're trying to add the
So-
money to get to the end.
It's already reduced.
It's already, they're not buying it.
No, it's just because we're saving up for the larger purchases.
Exactly.
This is the green number. We
Right,
try
and it's
to,
already you know, getting up there.
Right.
450.
So the 650 we know already has to come down. Let's bring that down to
Oh,
500.
yeah. That was at 5, you said?
Bring it down to 5. See what happens. Beth, did you have an idea? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off here.
Oh, no, I'm thinking that sometimes I think I'll look. No, I was just thinking there was just one year that we're in the negative now for the fire department at the end, but it's, I don't know. I was thinking, I was probably mumbling.
I'd really like to get that 111.27.
Mhm.
But there must be some kind of larger expense in
In 27.
27
In a different.
or,
department.
you know, large addition somewhere. 35, 30,000, that's flat. It's flat,
Yeah.
flat.
Like, Just the truck, that's
It's
nothing.
flat.
It's only 20. And. No,
32, it's
that,
already
we
down.
already chopped that down.
So, what do we always discuss about the retaining wall? Cause we got 100,000 in there. That year that we could go 50. I don't know if that will help much, but
So. We're only putting. Yeah, 7,500,000, yeah.
if we change,
We're gonna give them 75, 50, 100, 100.
It's just, it's a buildup to replacing that entire retaining wall. And I think it's based on more of a long-term plan that we know.
but if
is
we only
going
did
to-
50 on that year, I wonder if that would,
In 27.
yeah, 2027.
I don't know if that's gonna
I was
change.
just going through,
Try it, yeah.
looking at bigger numbers throughout, just trying to.
Yep.
Figure something out.
And then what was that, 100?
It was
It was 100, yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna do anything.
Yeah, I know, just.
No?
Double 9,
Don't think- yeah.
11.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So 78. So what was that? 10, how many thousand? 50,000?
Yeah.
50,000.
All right, so
2
28. Or are we still in the negative? 28.
No,
great.
it's 30. We're the negative. That's
Uh,
all set now. I gotta
So
get
what
rid
if
of it.
you added that 50 to 28? And again,
Make it 500.
it's not a great number, but
Yep.
based on rough math,
Ooh. All right.
10 at the dot.
Yeah, that's a solid $1.10 now.
I think we got all the years
Yeah.
done except for that 30 year mark. I mean, I think we got a good,
I think-
consistent number.
I think that's probably like the best even amount that we've been able to get to. I mean, they're slightly higher than what we've seen in the past, but it's
do we want
pretty
to
even.
add that money back in for the retaining wall in 30
Or at least
That-
25.
that we took out?
I'd put it in 30.
They had already,
So,
they had changed what they were putting in the retaining wall from 50 to 100 a year.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
yep, so if we put the 50 here,
So still getting them.
Nope. Not if we change it,
so we give them their 50 back
but out in the hours.
back in 30. That, wow.
What's that, $1.10?
It's
What?
$1.08, so we got a
Oh,
dollar
$1.08.
9.6, $1.91, $1.91, $1.10.
So the only thing we have in the
$1.96,
negative,
$1.80.
we have the police department, it's on a very little negative,
Mhm.
and then the fire department, which is what, like 400,000 or something?
Do we want to fix the police
I
department so
think
they're
it's
not,
gonna hit
or do we
that.
want to wait and follow up with them?
I think the police department's fine being that, like, I'm not, I don't think I'm nervous about that.
Okay.
It's far enough out.
It's far enough out
And
and
it's small.
he can, and small enough, but he can, like he said, he can
Pursue
manipulate it
grant
with
funding
his-
and that kind of
And then who knows if he can get a grant for some of that, so that's down the line, I don't think
Yeah.
that's horrible. The fire department scares me of being negative for like 400,000. Which I
Is-
don't know how.
Is
we're-
it still now? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Think it is.
It's 500 something, I don't forget where we're at now. Oh, 3.
Oh, three, yeah,
So
so
360. Yeah, because we're putting those two years, some pretty hefty numbers.
How do you guys feel about that?
We've already pushed out one of the trucks. We've pushed
Yeah.
out the radios.
Yeah.
I think from a committee perspective, we've done
everything we could.
pushing.
Yeah, pushing
Yeah.
it. I think we have pushed enough. I just don't know where to get that. And that, of course, they're all gonna fall on that ladder truck on.
And that's what it's following truly is in again, maybe do we approach the select board and say, is there,
We have this amount of money.
right, we're reserving this amount of money, we're $350,000 short without drastically impacting the CIP.
Yeah.
Is this something that we can look towards potentially fund balance or
And it would all change if we went lease. Right?
I mean, there would be a significant amount of money pulled out of this plan if we went lease. You have to crunch numbers for sure.
Is there an impact to not buying it? In other words, is it possible that the truck that we have would be deemed inoperable? Don't we have a ladder truck?
We do, so that still has to go through testing this fall.
And so
Like the.
what is the risk? Where's the risk is where my head is going. We keep kicking this down the road. What if that truck fails? What do we do then?
Mutual aid.
The truck's been out of service before. The one that's there now was a Band-Aid purchase because the other one was out of service for an extended period.
Yeah, I mean. Got you the habit, so. It's more. I'm just trying to figure out what the risk is to the community by not buying it. And not planning for it appropriately.
I think the plan is the important part. If we have a plan that's functional and moving forward, then I think we're doing our due diligence as a committee. If, from my personal perspective, I think if there's a plan and we're moving forward and it's viable, then we're doing our due diligence. But if we were to suggest something that's completely impossible, then, then that's certainly a risk associated with it, but
This is pretty close to impossible.
it's closer than we have ever been. I will say that.
Being close.
All right, so,
I have on my list,
Mhm.
872,000, but that's not accurate. It's actually 361,000
Yeah, after our finagling.
after finagling.
And then
And then-
you said the police department has a tiny, oh, that's 28,000.
Yeah.
So for your notes.
Yeah, so I have a negative 361 on the fire that we need to get some feedback from the select board on.
Mhm.
A confirmation from the highway department that their annual appropriation request is 1.5 for the annual for road reconstruction.
Yep.
And then a confirmation with the PD of the dollar amount they're looking for. Either way, we'll be prepared for it because it's in terms of the numbers that we're preparing for, it's a fairly small number.
So I'm just gonna throw a date out there. So we do have October 2nd as another meeting. So if we need answers, after tonight, we would have to have them by that date, the latest.
I feel like, would we have Roger and Frank, my apologies.
Yeah.
Would we have Roger and Frank available for that to
I
your
would
knowledge?
think so, yeah.
I don't think it would be a terrible idea just to maybe get some of these clarifications, maybe potentially get some direction from the select board, and then just get together one last time, even if it is for a half an hour, 40 minutes,
Yeah.
just take one last. Yeah. Just, I mean, we are missing two.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable with where this is. I mean, the work that's been done. Absolutely.
Roger say, if they didn't listen to all this conversation,
Right.
they're gonna look at this and say, well, what about this?
Right,
It would
especially
be nice to
considering
get some
Frank's our
feedback
chair,
from them.
it'd be
Yeah.
nice to have the chairperson here for the last.
Especially if he's gonna speak to it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Any other discussion on this particular document?
I think we did pretty good. I think our numbers are pretty good. Except for that year 30.
Yeah. All right, so next up, calendar meeting dates, committee to meet and finalize the plan Wednesday, October 2nd, as Jessica mentioned. Any real conflicts with that? You have the space,
Yeah, everything's, that was already scheduled a while back.
okay? Committee to attend the joint meeting with the planning board to present the plan Tuesday, October 15th. Again, that's already kind of like set in stone, right?
Yep.
That's posted as a meeting or
It's a,
if it has to be.
Yeah, it's a big-
Right. Tentative public hearing to be scheduled at the October planning board meeting too. They'll have to confirm it, of course.
Yeah.
Tuesday, November 19th, with a tentative snow date of the 27th. Committee chair, planning board chair to present the plan to the Board of Selectmen and Budget Committee sometime November, December. Questions on that?
But that last date is not decided.
Oh, for the selectmen and the
After the
budget committee,
19th.
yeah, it's whenever they meet. Yeah, whenever those boards meet.
All right. Questions, comments, further discussion? Public input? Hearing and seeing none? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Karen. Second. Have a good night, everyone.